And welcome everyone again to another video. And in this video I am going to be talking about the top teams in Great League, and it's part number 2. Why it's part number 2? Because I talked about like the top teams at the beginning of the season for Open Great League, but the thing is, metas hasn't been the same. Like, so this video is more about like what people ended up using after new Pokemons got, like, you know, the new moves, like after Noctowl became everywhere and these stuff. So technically this is an updated version of the old video, which is also about the top teams and the most used teams, and I believe this one should be more accurate because that one I made it based on what am I assuming people are gonna use. We ended up having like some decent teams and people had some decent success with it, but this is now just like, let's say, you know, like Open Great League is going to be back in 2 days, so it's more of like for you to review or to remember, or this video is going to remind you of what were the common teams back there. Also suggest you some teams that you can use. My name is Yasser Alid. I'm a Twitch streamer. I stream on Twitch almost every day, 3 to 5 p.m. Central Time, and today we'll be talking about the Open Great League meta. So I divided them into good leads, just as always, safe swaps, closers. Good leads like Pokemon with either decent fast move pressure or Pokemons that has a bait move and a decent nuking move. Safe swap Pokemon that can flip close matchups just by having energy lead. Also Pokemons that technically do not get walled by anything. That's because they are just extremely good in the meta. An example of that, Sableye, the ultimate safe swap in the Great League meta. You can literally always safe swap Sableye. Lickitung, an ultimate safe swap Pokemon that you can safe swap. Maybe it's not being used as much as it used to, but still a decent safe swap. Umbreon, same. Lantern, Medi. Yeah, Medi lose to Sableye, you lose to Trevenant, but some people, like, if you use it safe swap, you're using it as part of some ABB teams to bait out the ghost. So like, as an example, Lantern can sweep, or like, let's say, like, you know, like the team Noctowl and Medi Noctowl, so you use Medicham to bait out the Trev, then you farm it down with Noctowl, and then like your Lantern is free in the back. Deoxys Defense, an amazing Pokemon, one of my favorite, like all-time favorite Pokemon in the Great League, because Psycho Boost just does lots of damage to most of the Pokemon that do not resist Psychic, and Counter just give it like a great coverage, plus you can run either Thunderbolt or Rock Slide depending on the meta. If Altaria exists, you run Rock Slide. If people don't use Altaria, just run Thunderbolt. Pelipper fell off the meta after the nerf to Witherbolt, but now it's back and strong because of the buff to wing attack, and I'm happy with it because Pelipper is one of my favorite Pokemons in Great League. Venusaur is the ultimate core breaker to Stunfisk teams, because Stunfisk teams always have a Sableye, always have something like Trevenant. I mean, Trevenant beats Venusaur, but it's not a bad matchup. Like, Venusaur can get Trevenant very low, and if you shield the Shadow Bolt, it's actually a winnable matchup. Toxapex is just an annoying toxic Pokemon that just... you need a steel Pokemon pretty much just to beat it. Safe swaps, Noctowl, probably the best Pokemon in the meta. Lantern, the best Pokemon to pair with Noctowl. Medicham, the Pokemon that covers those two. So pretty much those combined together makes the most common or the most used team in the Open Great League. Sableye, the ultimate safe swap, the best safe swap, name it whatever you want. Like, pretty much, you know what, let's just do it this way. So those are the ultimate safe swaps, the best safe swaps, and those two in the middle are like part of ABB teams, and in the bottom, the Flyers that you can use as a safe swap. Closets are Pokemon that can nuke and tend to do well in the zero shield scenario. An example for that, G-Fist doesn't need shields, right? Same for Registeel and Diggersby. They are just very bulky and they can beat everything in the neutral matchups. Same for the Azu. Like, if Azu hits everything for the neutral, Azu pretty much win every game. Bastiodon. What about Scrafty? Fell off after the nerf to Walrein. It's not being used as much as it used to, just because it doesn't beat Noctowl and lose to Medi, so that's like half the meta. Swampert is being used, not as much, because it doesn't beat Noctowl, and sometimes it is like lots of Trevenant because Trevenant can beat Noctowl's backline, so it's not as used as it used to be. But Swampert is always good. Dubwall is a Pokemon that is being slightly used. It's not as good to be meta, but it's there. Like, it's literally, you can say it's like the best anti-meta Pokemon. Now moving to anti-meta Pokemons, and the Pokemon I want to talk about first is Gliscor. Lots of people have been trying to use Gliscor just because it beats G-Fisk and it can nuke Registeel, and especially if Registeel doesn't have Flash Cannon, it's a dominant matchup for Gliscor. Lantern matchup, it's scuffed for both because you have, as a Lantern, you have to shield the EQ and no shield in the Night Slash. You don't lose hard to Noctowl, but it's still a bad matchup, but it's a good Pokemon. Nidoqueen is not as good as it used to because now it's just bad. Like, if you want to use a Poison Jab user, I'd rather use a Skunk, to be honest, because Poison Thing is bad. Jumpluff. Jumpluff is a very interesting Pokemon because it can beat Altaria in the Zero, and it's the only grass that can beat Altaria in the Zero. There is no other grass Pokemon that can do that. That's one. Two, it's the only flyer that can beat Stunfisk as well. Charizard does that if Charizard is Shadow and has Ember. Talonflame can do that if both are pretty much at the same energy, but Jumpluff is probably like the best flyer at beating G-Fisk. Shadow Grumble is just a hard-hitting fast-move Pokemon. Tropius used to be like a better version of Jumpluff. Now Jumpluff is a better version of Tropius. Sirfetch'd is one of my favorite Pokemons. Sadly, it's not as good as it used to because it barely beats Lantern because this thing is just very frail and their fast move just adds up very fast. But you can still pretty much outpace all the time. Coffin, you know, like, if you hate a Trevenant for being frail, you can always use Coffin, a much bulkier version of Trevenant, and it's even bulkier than Sableye by 200, I think 200 or like 100 more stat product. The Flyers I want to mention here, Talonflame and Skarmory, they aren't as good as it used to, but I know that in the lower tiers, like in between 200, 2000 to 2500, Talonflame is pretty dominant there because people run stuff that are weak to Talonflame, so Talonflame is the best answer. And people pretty much aren't great at shielding, at calling, at no shielding baits, so Talonflame can benefit from that just by ramping up the fast move. Vigoroth, it's just a bad version of Dubwall now. Frostlass, it's good when people aren't using Steel. That's all I say. Shadow Marowak, again, it's a much better version of Marowak. It beats a Trevenant now and Sableye in the one, which is pretty decent. But people still prefer Trevenant over it because Trevenant is Party Grass and that gives it a better matchup against Lantern, where you can beat Lantern, where Sableye and Marowak struggles to do that. Mew, I used to say it is like a bad version of Sableye because Sableye is much bulkier and the stab damage helps Sableye a lot, where Mew lacks all the stab damage. I'm supposed to have Dunsparce here, but somehow I don't have Dunsparce. Why there is no Dunsparce here, sir? Okay, you know what? Let's add Dunsparce because Dunsparce deserve a place in these slides, okay? Dunsparce is one of the good core breakers in this toxic Flyers meta. So usually whenever there is a Flyers in the meta, pretty much it's an RPS meta. So we don't even argue about that. Okay, we can find a good picture about Dunsparce. Okay, so yeah, Dunsparce deserve a spot in this meta just because it's a very safe Pokemon. I mean, it's not the greatest because it always lacks the stab damage. So that's the same problem as a Mew. It struggles to beat the stuff that's supposed to be, as an example. You don't kill Altaria with 2 Rock Slides, even though 2 Rock Slides are super effective, where like Stunfisk can kill Altaria with 2 Rock Slides. I think you need to do some fast move, but like Stunfisk has Mud Shot, which is double resisted by Altaria, while this thing has super effective rock fast move, and you still don't do it. So that's why it's not meta. I don't know why they nerfed Rollout. It was a very unnecessary nerf, to be honest. Obama Snow, it has a spot in the meta when people start using Lantern Altaria a lot, but it lacks the bulk. So it has an interesting spot in the current meta, but it's not there to be as a strong meta Pokemon. Cresselia is fine, you can use it. Politoed, nah. A9 fell off the meta. Trevenant is a spice Pokemon now. What happened? Yes, sir. I will be talking about Trevenant. I don't know why Trevenant is mentioned here. Ariados, I think it just added there because someone used it in regionals. Pharaoh just fell off the meta very hard after Trevenant became a thing. So, now these are like anti-meta Pokemon. What about spicy stuff you can use? Cheftree is the king of the spice, okay? Cheftree is the best spicy Pokemon. Shadow Celio is a decent Pokemon because it beats Walrein and it beats the Flyers, and it beats Walrein, Flyers, and Swampert. Shadow Skunk, I said it's a better Nidoqueen. It's better than Nidoqueen now. Gradient is probably my favorite among all of these. Not gonna lie. And these are the stuff you can use, but they aren't that much great of a pick. So we talked about the Pokemons. What about the best teams? The best team according to PvPoke is Medi, Licky, Basti. I think Yonkers used to use this team a lot. And the team is basically Treble 3 level 50. What does this mean? This is like the bulkiest team you could get. The team pretty much has all the stat product in the entire world. The problem with this team is that you have two Pokemons that lose to Noctowl, Medi and Licky. Yes, Medi is fine, but Lantern is, Noctowl is everywhere, so you can't have two Pokemons that lose hard to it unless you catch the Noctowl on your Bastion. This team is tough, so that's why I have like I will be mentioning a better team to deal with the Lantern meta. The second, I mean, this is the top PvPoke team, but I would say on paper. What does this mean? This means that this is supposed to be the best team, but no one's using it because it's not performing as it's supposed to do, because there is some Pokemons in the meta that people are spamming and they can beat most of the stuff. As an example, this team will lose to Water Gun Lantern. Why? Because Water Gun Lantern can two shield through G-Fisk, beat Registeel, and destroy Pelipper. So if they have Water Gun Lantern, you just lose. You beat everything else, but Water Gun Lantern can be sometimes everywhere. Everyone can use that because the most used team in the meta is Medi, Noctowl, Lantern. This is the most used team. What's the good thing about this team? You can run this team pretty much in any order. You can lead this, safe swap this, you can lead this, have this in the back. It doesn't matter. Those are the best three Pokemons together in the current meta, whether you like it or no. Sorry about that. I don't like this team. I hate this team so much, but whether I like it or no, this is the best team and this is the most used team. So that's where I come up with the team I used to play last Great League rotation, which is basically Stunfisk, Sableye, Trevenant. So I use Sableye to bait out the Noctowl. By the way, XL Sableye versus Noctowl, if you have two Shadow Claw lead, you can beat Noctowl in the zero and you can force them to shield. And what Trevenant is good at, Trevenant can beat Medi and Lantern together. So if you bait out the Noctowl with Sableye, kill it with a Stunfisk, Trevenant can sweep the backline. If you want to learn more about this team, I have a YouTube video called This is the Best Open Great League Team, Road to Rank 20. I used it before I hit Rank 20. So that's just type this title in the YouTube search and it will take you to this video. And I pretty much explained how do I play versus every team out there. Where am I? I'm here. Anything to mention? Pretty much I recommend watching the video because I think I talked about it for like 25 minutes. How do you play this team? So if you want to be prepared, if you like this team, make sure to check the video. But this is basically not the team I use the most. This is what I use the most. And this is my favorite team, the team I started using since day one. And it got pretty common in the meta where PvPoke rated it as the top rated team. And you can see it hit 564 team rating. By the way, 500 is a team that has 50% win rate. The usage was 0.7%, which means most people were using this team the most after I started using it, and I made a YouTube video, and it became very popular. The name of the video, the top rated team on PvPoke. I don't think there is dash. So basically it's the top rated team on PvPoke, my team. And yeah, just copy, if you can copy this in the YouTube search, and it will take you to how to play this matchup, because there is some tricky matchup you need to be aware of. Like as an example, if they have a Trevenant in the lead, which Pokemon do you safe swap? I'm not gonna tell you, you have to go and watch the video, sorry. I think this is the team I will be using, by the way. So if you are wondering which team do I use, this is the team I use. Because, hey, it's the best team according to PvPoke, and it's my team, so I can get, like, you know, some credit on that while playing it, and people can always go and go back and check the video, and I'll be making another video about it. Another team that is also solid, and it's an old team that was popularized by FP Sticks, the one and only. I call it FP's is great again because I think it's like, this is his season 6 or 7. No, I think this is his season 6 team where he hit like top 10 leaderboard with it. You can go and check the video. I don't know. I tried to find the video, but I couldn't find it. But I pretty much you can find it somewhere. But yeah, this is a very solid team. And again, Venusaur. I mean, Trevenant can do better versus Medi and Lantern, but Venusaur is still decent against those, and the Venusaur is decent in the current meta. Another team I want to mention is the Ice Spice D by Iceman himself. He's a Twitch streamer that doesn't win that many games, but yeah, his team is DD, Licky, Diggersby. The team lose to one Noctowl, so that's why he changed his team into Medi, Noctowl, Licky. Yes, he still loses to Noctowl. Hey, I said he doesn't win that many games, okay? Iceman. Sorry, Iceman. Okay, moving on. I checked Go Battle Log to check their top rated teams because Go Battle Log is where like lots of people report their teams, like the team they use and the teams they face. And the team that had the highest win rate was basically G-Fisk, Double Flyers. This is an old team, but people used to run Pelipper with Skarmory, I think. And then because of the buff to Noctowl, Noctowl became the best flyer, and then Altaria now is the second best flyer because Altaria can beat Lantern as well. So the two flyers became Noctowl and Altaria. I said Pelipper double steal doesn't work, but you know what works? Dragonite double steal. I have a YouTube video about it. The name of the video, Cynics reached 3300 MMR with this Great League team, Pokemon Go PvP. And I think you need, if you want to use this team, you need to watch that YouTube video. I'm not trying to advertise my videos. It's more of like, there is lots of close games. Like, how do you play with his Altaria lead? Do you shield? Do you no shield? Do you throw in swap or do you stay in? How do you play with his Sableye lead? Because Sableye has Medi in the back, right? And you need to bait out the Medi. How do you do this? I recommend going back and watching this video. Another team I wanted to talk about is Swampert Double Flyer. And for this team, those two are a must. Swampert, Noctowl. The third flyer can be changed literally to one of these. Up to you. You can choose whatever you want. So you need to use... Skarmory is tough to use, not gonna lie. Pidgeot is better, but still bad. Talonflame is still bad. So I think Altaria is still the better option. So this is more of like similar version to this, but with a Swampert instead of G-Fisk. So if you like G-Fisk, you can use that one. If you like Swampert, you can use this one. And it is only basically only one player in Great League who plays Talonflame at high MMR. His name is... And yeah, the only player who used Talonflame in Great League is basically J-Mills. I don't think anyone else used Talonflame at high MMR. He's the only player. Some people requested a Toxapex team, and this is the Toxapex team I would run if I ran Toxapex. Toxapex with either Medi or Dubwall. I don't have Dubwall, so I ran Medi. Why Dubwall is better? Because Dubwall has a better ghost coverage with either Licky or Umbreon. Umbreon is slightly better because it has a better matchup versus Noctowl and Lantern. And basically they beat most similar stuff, but Umbreon beats more stuff than Lickitung. So I recommend Umbreon. So let's put it in the front and Licky in the back. So okay, the one in the back is the second option. The one in at the front is like the best option. I think there's like 3 or 4 more teams. Another team I wanted to mention, if you want to Toxapex, you know, do you remember the Wholesome's team? Also Smash King, aka Smash King team, aka Agent Avocado's team, Nidoqueen, Umbreon, Deoxys Defense. So you can use Toxapex instead of Nidoqueen. Instead of Umbreon. No, you don't change Umbreon. Umbreon is actually good. Instead of DD, you can use Scrafty, but I prefer DD or Medi, those two. A team that was popularized by Homeslice Henry. I think one of his mods made this team, and Henry made it popular, and then Rise to the Occasion used it after. The team is basically Medi, Double Normal, Diggersby, and Noctowl. With like Mudshot, Diggersby is fine versus Noctowl because you can live 2 Surfs if they have Spark, but if they have Water Gun, it becomes more iffy. But if you can land a bait and you can nuke, you can still win the game, by the way. But Noctowl is pretty rough. I think he changed Diggersby into Walrein, so it's like more of like Medi, Diggersby, Walrein, or Medi, Noctowl, Walrein. I am not sure which one, but I am sure he's gonna make a video. We all know like Henry is like a machine that produces content, right? So we're gonna see him like be using like his team again. Yeah, feel free to check his YouTube channel at youtube.com/c/homeslicehenry. I'm sure most of my subscribers are also sub to Henry. This team was literally a season 1 team, and it became popular now just because Registeel is strong, Lantern is OP, Altaria is too good. The only problem with this team is G-Fisk lead or Azo lead. It gets tough because Azo has a G-Fisk in the back. So as long as they don't lead Azo or G-Fisk, this team is pretty strong. Do I recommend it? It's just a slow team that doesn't pressure shields, and that's the only problem with it. So if you can get the shields down with Altaria or Lantern, Registeel can sweep everything. A team I wanted to mention, Toxapex, Trevenant, Swampert by Pranav. We all know this team. I don't think I need to talk a lot about this team. It deserves a mention because he used Skunk to hit number 1 on the leaderboard, which is pretty impressive. Like, if it's me, I would use Toxapex, but Skunk can beat the Ghost, so he doesn't need to do that. Plus, Skunk is fine, but this is the fighters. I mean, that one is also fine, but this is the fighters. Skunk has like a much better aggressive fat move pressure, where like Toxapex has much more bulk. And the last team I want to mention, it's like the team I will always be mentioning, Triple Counter, the team that got popularized by Walwar. And now it's one of the best, still a solid team to use, but I wouldn't say it's a top team. I fell off because Noctowl is just everywhere, and the stuff that people usually pair with Noctowl, like Medi. Like, how do you beat Medi with this team? Yeah, Deoxys Defense can beat it as long as Deoxys Defense is very healthy. That's the only way. This is the end of the video. Special thank to Go Battle Log for providing me an access to their top teams, PvPoke for the amazing tools they have on the website, and YTX Pikachu for giving me access to Go Battle Log. And yeah, that's the end of the video. If you watched till the end, thank you so much for watching, and if you like the video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to check my Twitch at twitch.tv/YasserAlid, and give me a follow on Twitter, lead_Yasser. This is the end of the video, and see you in the next one. Peace.